met some new friends today. They're from a band called Sleepwave. Say hi, guys. Introduce yourselves and tell everybody what you do in the band.
Yo, what's up? My name is Spencer, and I sing and play multiple things in Sleepwave.
What's up? I'm Steven, and I cover pretty much everything but drums and vocals.
Now, you guys were just telling me that your record's not out yet. It's done. Did you guys produce it yourself? You tell me you run a studio. Did you record it and produce it yourself?
We did a lot of the demos at Steven's studio, but we actually recorded the record with David Bendith, who's a producer that he's done like Bring Me the Horizon, Paramore, Breaking Benjamin. He's a dude for sure.
Well, he just comes from, like the old school record making mentality. Mm-hmm. And like Bob Ezrin is the guy that kind of apprenticed him and taught him everything he knows. And anyone that knows anything about production, that name's pretty important. But at any rate, he's a beast in that way because there's not a lot of like digital tricks and shortcuts in that way. Like
very organic record.
Yeah, what's on tape is a performance. You know what I mean? It's not a mishmash of the best of all these things. It's like he definitely works you to the bone. But I think the quality of the content when you're done at the end of the day, it shows that. It's definitely better than the cookie cutter format that's been coming out lately,
Yeah, that's something I'm kind of excited that bands are getting back to. They got really heavily into the Pro Tools editing for a while, and now things are kind of coming back to the more organic, raw, old style.
Well,
production.
that's where the passion is.
He doesn't use Pro Tools, which is pretty awesome.
It was weird for me being an engineer and studio guy walking into such a, at least for me, an iconic studio and to see all of the like familiar things missing. Mm-hmm. But as unnerving as that was at first, I came to love it by a couple weeks in because it took all the comfort out of the room. And I think that you do your best work when you're up against a wall in that way. And for me, it's the best record I've ever made. So,
And so the pressure was on. It's like, okay, full takes, no shortcuts, no cheating.
He really works you to the point to where you almost want to hate him while you're there, but when you're done, you thank him because if you, like me and Steven have been playing music most of our lives, you walked away being a better musician, which doesn't really happen. I mean, you can, tour for years and make tons of records. I did 5 Under Oath records, and this is the first Sleepwave record, and this is the first time I felt like I walked away from a recording process with like a whole bag of tricks that I didn't have before. I really felt like he pushed me to a limit that I've never been pushed before, and you might hate that there, but I could never thank him enough for that.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that statement.
What's one thing from each of you that he pushed you to do that you didn't think you could do or didn't think was going to work that after it was over you're like, holy crap, that was awesome?
Well, I've got I did all the bass on the record, and
your bass was
by trade. I'm not a bass player. Like again, studio guy, whatever. I thought I knew the role that bass plays, and I thought I understood mechanically how a bass should be played, and the dude sniped me on day one, just kind of pointed at me and laughed of just like, you're a guitarist playing a bass. This is a joke, you know what I mean? And luckily he didn't kind of condemn me for that. He gave me some pointers and helped me understand where that is and how that sits. And by, halfway through the next day, I got it. And I feel like now I listen to some of my favorite records I've been listening to for decades, and it just sounds different. It's deeper because I can appreciate that angle on the whole thing. You know what I mean? And I don't know that I'll ever be the same, even as a guitarist, for that, because I understand that relationship better, and I think that just makes me a better musician, like you said.
He walked away twice the bass player he was, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my first guitar in like first grade, I think, and I've never had to play like that before. Like and that was pretty huge, but to me, vocally, being a singer, like most every studio you go to, every great producers are going to use programs like Vocaline, which if you double a vocal or the harmony, it makes it easier to like match it where it ends and stuff. He doesn't use that. He doesn't use Melodyne at all, which everyone uses. And he doesn't really tune your vocal. And it, for me, it wasn't like a thing I didn't think I could do. I just was like, what are you thinking? Like, why wouldn't you just use the technology at hand to help make something, maybe cut out an extra week of work? But when you hear your finished vocal that's not helped by a computer, the actual sound of it is just so real. Like you were saying, organic and raw. you never want to go back. And that was a huge thing to me at first. I was like, I'm used to doubling everything and doing this and doing that. And he's just like, nope, we're not doing that. And you're just kind of like, well, I don't know how this is going to turn out. And when it was done, it's just, even my vocal coach came in and she like cried when she heard it.
Literally.
Nice.
Literally in
Cried.
tears. So he pulls it out of you if you can handle it.
Yeah, he just knocks the rust off you, and he does it as a man who's been doing this for like 40 some odd years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The man's been making records twice as long as I've been alive.
I got to imagine the sense of accomplishment hearing that going, none of it was fake, none of it was screwed with.
Dude,
That's amazing.
It's a hell of a feeling, you know what I mean?
we're so stoked on the record. The most proud of anything I've ever done in my life is this record that's about to come out September 16th. That's it for us so far.
I couldn't agree more, yeah.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
I'm here with the guys from Sleepwave who are playing the Stache tonight with Nothing More. It's going to be a great show. If you don't have your tickets, get your tickets. It's going to be fantastic. So is this your first tour to support the record coming out? For this?
We did a full U.S. tour with Taking Back Sunday and The Used, but we didn't even have a single out yet. So our single came out 2 weeks ago. Our video came out yesterday.
Cool.
Which we made ourselves, by the way. We're
Yeah.
very proud of that.
With that guy standing
Yeah,
over there,
with our-
also named Steven.
With our dear friend over there.
We had a video, and none of us were too happy with it. Like, we went the legit way, and then we just kind of like, dude, let's just do it ourselves. We can do this. We know what we want. We know what we want it to look like. We have a very talented friend who's got an eye for film. Rented some cameras, rented some crew, and we just worked really
Literally
hard.
sweat it out.
Yeah, literally we turned it. It came out yesterday, and we turned it in the afternoon before.
Wow.
So we've been working. We work a lot.
Totally performance-based?
Performance with a side story to it, but mostly performance based.
Yeah, there's some narrative in there. And the cool thing for us is that it all ties into all of the creative visual stuff we were doing before there was labels or anything involved. Mm-hmm. At least for me, that was really exciting to be able to pull all that together thematically.
We've got like one theme going for the whole setup of this record so far.
Is it a concept style record or just thematic record?
No, it's just we had a vision both for the music and for like the visuals, and we just have never really veered from that path, which is kind of awesome. Like normally, like you get signed or songs change, and you kind of, we don't really need it. We've kind of really stuck to our guns through this whole process, which I pat us both on the back for, because that's a hard thing to do.
So how did the band come together? How did you guys put this whole project together?
We it's a funny thing. Like I was saying, I sang in a band called Under Oath. It was more like a metal band. We toured for 10 plus years, and like I said, I play all sorts. I love all sorts of music. I'm a music fan. That's why I do this. I'm a fan of music. I would come home, and Steven's my best friend who wasn't in Under Oath, and I would come home and just want to jam. And we did it because it was fun, which is the best part about Sleepwave. We're about to release a record that we did for fun, And we were writing stuff, and as I saw that Under Oath was about to call it quits, we kind of buckled down. Long story short, I mean, it was a really long process, but we had about 30 starts to songs. Like they weren't structured. There wasn't much to it. There was just like ideas, like one big idea. Next one big idea. One big idea. We would play
like
riffs.
A vibe,
Yeah, we'd play like a riff for 6 minutes long and just record it. Like we were really just riffing and having fun. And we figured out like we knew it was something we would eventually want to do. We didn't know it was going to be so soon. We just buckled down like, all right, let's make these into songs. Started like moving stuff, rewriting, really like focusing. And then we demoed it ourselves out of our own pockets, went broke, went homeless.
A couple times
over, and got a whole new team. Like no one that worked for Under Oath works for this band anymore. So we got a new label, a new manager, a new booking agent, which took a long time. And then I got a hold of Bendith because he had mixed a record called Lost in the Sound of Separation, which was the second to last Under Oath record. So we had kind of a relationship. We got it with him, produced the record. Now it's about to come out on Epitaph on the 16th of September.
It all just kind of happened organically in that way. Like, I think that's a very cool thing because I know plenty of musicians that sort of like sweat in the night with worry and concern and how are we going to do this and how are we going to pull this off and all this kind of stuff and arguing amongst themselves about creative decisions and stuff like that. And being that it's just the two of us, there's nothing that we don't work out, and there's no bickering or petty stuff that really goes on in that process because we're such good friends to begin with. It's like
our relationship was based off of we liked the same bands. Like if we would have gone to high school together, like we would have been in a high school band together.
Yeah.
Because you know how like you get with your buddies, if you're a rock guy, like the guys that listen to this style hang out together, the guys that kind of, or at least when I grew up, that was like that. So I think we just see eye to eye on so much stuff musically that it's just been so organic. Like we don't even really talk when we do it. We just do it and it just happens. It's pretty sweet.
Which is cool for me,
Yeah. So was it almost a surprise that you guys had good musical chemistry when you started playing together, or was it just kind of screwing around just as friends doing things? You found out, you figured out.
Just kind of happened.
Dude, it literally like we would just it would be so loud. Instead of going to a bar, like I'd come home from tour and I'd go to his house and we'd just have these Marshalls cranked. And we just start, like, one of us would start with the riff, and the other guy would play around him. And then when, like, you found something cool, like, you'd keep playing it, and then the other guy would
work
switch
each
around
other
that,
up.
and we'd just, like, keep going. Like, even last night, trying to figure out acoustic stuff, like, I was like, hey, check this out. It's, like, something that messes with your brain. It was, like, a weird finger exercise kind of thing. And then it turned into, like, we riffed for about an hour and wrote a whole new bridge around this idea just because we just kept playing off each other. It's a really cool, just interesting idea and like organic vibe we have.
Yeah. I think for me, it's like, I think we both shared the same sort of excitement, and I think the motivation for that excitement is the same. So when one of us gets there, it's like the other's bound to follow. You know what I mean? It's very rare that we're like pulling in different directions.
We're the organic health food store of riffs.
Yeah, exactly. We're the Whole Foods of hard rock.
Well, you definitely have to come out and see the organic health food store of riffs.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great show. It's tonight at the Stache, Sleepwave, and Nothing More. Come on out and join us. GRD is going to be there. We know you're going to be there. We had some fun with Nothing More doing paintball today. Wish you guys could have been there.
Great guys.
I know you got to get back to the venue. We're going to do some cool secret stuff for the website. That's going to be totally exclusive. It's going to be the first time ever you guys are going to play some songs for anybody acoustically.
Yeah. We have our song Through the Looking Glass is out now. It's our single. You can get it now. But that's the only song people have heard. We released a demo a long time ago. That's a demo. Like we did that before we were signed and stuff. But yeah, this is the first time anyone will be able to see Acoustic Sleepwave, which is pretty opposite from the way we sound because we're pretty heavy, very keyboard heavy, kind of industrial vibe to rock and roll. So it's cool. We totally strip these songs down. We change the vocal melodies, we change the vibe. It's a totally different. So if you hear this first and you buy the record, the songs will still sound completely different, which is cool. We're not just unplugging and just banging through our song that we played on the record. It's a completely, we found out we needed to do acoustic stuff. Like we have almost a way we could release acoustic record that would sound totally different of the same songs.
That contrast I think is important, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I personally, and it's not a diss on any band that does this, but for me it's like, I feel like it's kind of annoying when people just try to transpose something from an amped environment to an acoustic guitar without any consideration for the medium. Because, I mean, just banging away on an acoustic has its merit, but at the same time, you could get a lot more out of it. I think about, like Alice in Chains Unplugged, Nirvana Unplugged. Like, none of those dudes were just banging away on acoustic guitars.
Yeah, it wasn't the same.
They settled into something that the acoustic offered that the electric guitar didn't. You know what I mean? And those versions of those songs have their own weight and their own world around them, and I think that's important, So that's what we tried to accomplish with this.
Okay. Speaking of the album, which comes out in September
16th.
Broken Compass is the name of that.
Broken Compass. Pick that up when it comes out. Come see them tonight. We're going to play the song Through the Looking Glass. Tell us a little bit about this song.
It's funny. This song was in one of the first batches that we demoed, and then when we recorded, we didn't change anything but the bridge. It's a song that we at first, and I think I hear this story a lot from bands. Like we thought it would be a B-side to the record.
Yeah.
Classic.
And then when you turn it in, the label was like, this is the one to open the doors. This is our first single.
Yeah.
And I remember standing outside of my apartment on the phone, like, so dumbfounded. I remember us having a conversation in the van on the way home going like, this record is amazing and this B-side's really good. I'm really stoked on it. Like, we've got a really killer record here. Any single they choose is going to be like, I'm so pumped to move forward with this. And then the song that we had set aside for a B-side was the one they chose. And it's not, I mean, to me, it doesn't sound like a B-side. I love the song. The more I hear it, the more I love it. But to me, it was like the one that I was like, I like all the other ones better, But I hear that all the time. So, yeah, here's what we thought's a B-side. Now is the single.
Yeah. But it's funny how that works out. Like, you put a little consideration into it, and like it took me a minute to realize the angle or the point or the purpose or what their motivation was in making that choice. And at this point, after having made the video and, you know what I mean, gone through all that we've gone through to
the reaction
support
live
that song and, like, get behind it. And yeah, and the kids and the fans, really, like, it makes total sense to me now, And I like that because I feel like there's a product side of this whole world that, as, the artist or the creator or whatever, I tend to be a little remiss towards, because it's like I don't think that way, you know what I mean?
Yeah, when you're on the inside, it's it's hard to have that perspective on what song would be the best to put out.
Like you're not selling to yourself.
That's why
you
picking your favorite child.
Yeah, that's why you have a
exactly,
label. That's the
exactly.
cool thing about having a team. When we have a great team, like everyone at Epitaph and Raw Power, we really trust. It's not like we're fighting all the time. We spent a year picking the right label and the right management, so we really trust the team that we have, which is great because I've never had that before in any band I've ever been in. So it's really sweet to be like, dude, your outside opinion is completely out of this world to me, but that's why I hired you to work for me. That's like why we're in business together. So yeah, we're excited about it.
Definitely.
Well, let's listen to the song. If you like this song, pick up the album. And the rest of the songs are going to be even more amazing because you guys like all the other ones too.
Yeah.
And even more than this one. So check it out. It's a pretty cool song. It's called Through the Looking Glass. Crank it up and then come check out Sleepwave tonight with Nothing More at the Stache. All those details on the show are at WGRD.com.